All right, welcome guys. Wow, so excited to be here with all of you. Oh, we still got someone not muted, so we're gonna find out who you are. Let's see. I'm gonna see if I can mute everyone. All right, I think we're good. All right, let's get started. So my name is Tiffany Anderson, if we haven't officially met, but I think most of you we might have a few new people in. So welcome. This is gonna be amazing 6 weeks, you guys. I'm gonna give you everything that I have to help you just achieve your goals over the next 6 weeks. So we don't officially begin until Monday, but I wanted to bring you all on a little early here so we can just talk about dreaming bigger and goal setting and just planning and getting everything ready, because I feel that is like the most important thing, because if we don't do any of this stuff, we're going to come into the 6 weeks unprepared, not sure when things are happening, and we're just not going to do it, and nothing is going to happen. You're like, why did I join this thing? It was just another training that I didn't do. And I don't want this to be that for you. Okay. I want you guys to commit 100% to this. I want you to have an open mind. I want you to, hear that there's maybe going to be some different or new things that we're going to try, because we're going to get out of being stuck because we're doing the same things over and over and over, right? You wouldn't be here if you didn't want to grow. So I want you all to be committed to this in your business so that we can have success here. Okay. I want some really great success stories that we can share. I think it's going to be so fun at the end. So if you haven't yet, you want to fill out, there's a job form inside the group. There's kind of like a launch form. You want to fill that out, one, because we want to know how you're doing before we get started, right? So then we can compare how we do when we're done. But also there's some homework pieces in there along the way as well, but then you have a chance to win some prizes too. So we'll make it fun. So let's just start first by just really thinking a little bit bigger than like, I want to earn a few $100s during the 6 weeks, or, during the course of being in direct sales. I'm hoping that many of you want more than that, right? Depending on what your goals are, it is okay. You're in the right space. But there is, if you've heard kind of like a 80, 15, and 5 rule, is that 80% of people in direct sales want to make an extra $500 a month. Okay. 15% of people want to make an extra $500 a week. And then 5% want to make an extra $500 a day and are actually doing those things, right? It's like, yeah, we would all love to be a 5%er, but what's actually being done and who's actually getting those results, that's what it breaks down to be. Okay. So we probably have many 80%ers in here, and that is okay, because maybe you're at the point of, just getting started or making a few $100s a month, and you just, you want to make just a little bit more. And that's great. You're in a good place, because we need to know how to do all the basics of your business, even if you want to make $500 a month, right? And then I'm seeing some 15%ers in here as well, just from conversation with some of you, an extra $500 a week. That would be amazing, right? Who wants that? Drop me a 15 in the comments if you are a 15%er. And then there's very few people that just, want to go big and are actually going to go big and make $500 a day doing this. If that's you, if that's your vision, if you really are really zoned in, put 5 in the comments. And you're going to flex, between those. Maybe your mindset is going to change, but also you could join thinking and knowing that you're an 80%er, right? But then as you get going, you get a little taste of, what's possible, and you become a 15%er, and then you become a 5%er. That's how I started direct sales. And I'm assuming that's how most people do. Yes, there's going to be some that are like, as soon as they join, they're like on the road to 5, right? But most, we start at 80, go to 15, and go to 5. So Awesome. Excited to see that we have a little bit of variety in here. This 6 weeks is going to be amazing because we're going to all be, hopefully sharing and collaborating as well. So what I would like to do, just take a few minutes, so hopefully you guys have pen and paper with you. So what we don't do too often, although I try and make you guys do, is dream a little bit bigger, right? So dream a little bit bigger than what you're thinking that you can achieve or should achieve in this business, but what more do you want? Like, think about what your bigger why is. And many of you probably know this already. Many of you probably have done a vision board. Some of you have been on my vision board parties where we've actually made those. So we've had the chance to dream bigger, and we've had the chance to, write that out. So I would love to hear from, maybe just a couple of you, if you're open to sharing, what is your bigger vision, your bigger why with doing direct sales that gets you out of bed every day, that gets you to do more than what you did yesterday. So who wants to share tonight? Anybody want to get us rolling and share their bigger vision?
You know me, I'm up for talking loud.
Yes, always open.
My biggest vision is, my husband is 5 years older than I am, and he wants to retire at 62, which is in 9 years. I want to retire before from my traditional job, and I want to make more money than I make staying at home now. I work from home, but I want to make more money so that I don't have to work my job. I can be a Ruby Ribbon stylist full time.
Awesome. So who else wants to retire themselves and make more money than what they do at their current job, right? Yes. Awesome. Cool. So Paula, do you know, and everybody else who has that goal, do you know, have you actually mapped it out? Like what that takes, like how much do you have to, right? We haven't even really thought about it, right? You guys, I actually, so one of my bigger dreams and visions is to go to Hawaii. Like, that's been on my vision board forever. And just the other day, I realized, I don't even know what it would take. How much is it? Where would I go? What do flights look like? Would we take the kids? Would we not take the kids? Right. And so I actually started right here, some note taking on different places to go. So like, I had someone that had commented on one of my posts. Actually, it was the post that I talked about in the boot camp, right? Like, tell me 3 things about you. And one of the ladies commented that she lived for years in Hawaii. And so I was like asking her a bunch of questions, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like she made me realize, like, I don't even know where I would want to go, right? And so whatever your bigger goal is, like, yes, sometimes it seems like it's way out there, right? Like, man, this is going to be years for me to achieve this. But how can we even like think to achieve it if we don't have the steps in order to get there? So just like we're going to talk about your month, right, for getting your sales goals, right, we're going to break that down and know exactly what you need to do every month and where those sales are coming from. We need to do that with our bigger dreams and goals as well, right? Is to know, how can I get there? Not just have it up on the vision board and hope and pray someday that that's going to happen because your business is going to grow, but what does it actually take? And that's what we actually did for our trip to Disney. It's always been a vision of ours to take the kids to Disney World. And so one day I was like, same with the trip to Hawaii, I was like, I don't even know what it would take. I'm like, I just went on Facebook and I found a travel agent, and I just started asking her questions. And before I knew it, I had it booked. And I'm like, did I just book like a $10,000 trip and I don't even have $10,000 to give? Like, what did I do? But I made it. Like, I like, if you guys watched, I did a video today, I think it was today, like I made it happen. Like, I registered for this, right? Like, we set a date. And so now I have to do the work in order to make it happen. Just like, I'm planning to run a half marathon. I wouldn't get out of bed early and run for that if I don't have a date set and a plan set. So I want you guys to really, beyond tonight and right now, is think about what those bigger goals and dreams are and plan that out too, not just your month, to get your sales and to get your sponsors, but why do you do all of that? So does anybody else want to share what theirs is? We'll take one more share.
I will.
Yeah.
Um, so my why has kind of evolved because the why when I first started is not the why I have now. The why when I first started was to fund a very large vacation for our family, which I was able to fund that with this business. But then after the trip happened,
All right, go ahead.
after I paid for the trip, then it was like, okay, now what? So I had to come up with a new why. And my why, it probably sounds weird. I've been a musician my whole life. That's all I've ever done. It's all I've ever been good at. And so it's like, daggone it, I want to be good at something else. So it probably sounds weird to say that, but I'm like, okay, I can do something other than music and be successful at it. Um, and being able to, I'm kind of like Paul, my husband's 8 years older than I am. So I needed, he's going to be eligible for Medicare in 2 years and want to retire. And I'm like, oh, we need to make more money to feed that funnel. So.
Yeah. And so really break it down, what it is that you need. Don't just kind of think like, oh, we want to retire in a couple of years and, we're just going to make it happen. But really map it out to know what it is that you actually need. So does anybody have any questions around that? Or kind of stuck in what to do? No? All good? Awesome. Awesome. So I might put a post up about that in the group to just kind of share your bigger vision and why, because I strongly feel that if you don't share what you're working towards, it is so easy to give up on what it is that you're going towards. Okay. And if you put it out there to the universe and more people know about it, then you're accountable for it. And that's why I share like that I'm running this half marathon, because if I didn't put it out there, I could easily just say, you know what, I don't think I can do this. But now the world knows, and now I cannot not do it. So Patty, did you want to share?
So my dilemma is I'm very similar to the first person that spoke, in that my biggest why is to be able to step away from my teaching job and do my business full time. But it's very difficult while doing a full-time job to bring in just as much money to get me to that point of feeling, so that's kind of where my like my time, my energy bandwidth, and just trying to figure out how best to get there. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about right now.
Awesome. And so the thing is, so it's hard, like who's ever went from, working full time to like making that shift to having your business be your full time, right? Like, cause you want to replace that. You don't want to do it too early and then you're stuck, right? With not the income that you need coming in. So it's kind of like you're working two jobs, right? So that balance is very hard. So you got to figure out how to work smarter and not harder, right? But what's going to drive you, Patty, is what is the reason why you want to leave your teaching job, and why do you want to do this full time? Can you share that?
I have taught I have taught physical education for a long time, and my body is taking a toll. The standing on my feet all day. My heart and my head just love being with the kids. They feed me, I absolutely love that job. It's just mentally exhausting. And just all the other teacher deadlines and all the, other, teaching during COVID and all of that has, I just want a new challenge. I have given my heart and soul to teaching, and I'm ready for a new adventure, and maybe one that I don't have to bring my work home with me yes, I am bringing my homework with me, but I can time block it and work it a different way. So,
Yeah. So with that, if anybody can, relate to what she's saying, right? She loves what she does, but she kind of wants to do something a little bit different, right? But I don't, this is just me hearing you, is I don't know if that reason why is going to be strong enough to get you to really work your business full time while you're doing your teaching full time and creating that balance without getting frustrated, overwhelmed, and all that stuff going on. So like I think you have to dig a little bit deeper into that in order to get yourself to do more to make that happen. Because what I'm hearing is that, there's really, you could do anything to replace that income. It doesn't have to be your business, right? And so are you able to go a little bit deeper on that, Patty?
I do know that eventually I may want to move. And so being able to have a business that I can take wherever I go, and just being able to have residual income that's coming in that I'm not necessarily having to, time freedom, not necessarily having to do 40 hours to do the job, having less time and having more time to do the things I enjoy, like being able to go out hiking or being able to go take a trip and planning my time around, not having to only have my vacations during summer and, not being able to take a personal day on a Friday, those kind of things. And so I will continue to dig deeper, but I do like the time freedom and the geographical freedom of the business that I'm in and being able to take it wherever I want to go.
So you guys can see how we just asked why, kind of one more time. She went just a little bit deeper, but I think there's still more there too. So if I asked her, and Patty, if you're open to sharing, I heard a couple times you say that, you want to move, you love, different areas. So like, why is that important to you? That you can do this business anywhere and you can move wherever you want.
We live in Wisconsin. It's cold and hard to be outside exercising during the winter months. And winter is not just, December, January, February. It stretches quite a bit. And so just being able to be in a climate that I could be more active and my body parts would be a little bit happier. It's a significant thing for me. So the idea of being able to go out walking and being in a climate that I would enjoy. I do love Wisconsin, so, there's still that inner battle of how could I possibly want to leave Wisconsin? It's so beautiful,
Right.
Especially because we're in the middle of summer right now.
It is
Yes.
beautiful. Yeah. So what I would continue to do for yourself, Patty, and for everyone else too, is as you're writing down what that bigger vision and dream is, then ask yourself, well, why do I want this? And write that down. Why do I want that? And just keep going as deep as you can go. And then eventually you're just going to like feel it. Right. And that's when you're like, okay, this is what's going to get me up in the morning. This is what's going to get me to do this 6 weeks and be all in. Okay. So take some time and dive in to that. So, okay. So before we kind of go into more of the goal setting and the tracking, I want to go over just some of the basics of this group, because being prepared and being ready is going to be a big piece of this. So every Monday at 11 a.m. Central, I'm going to just pop into the group. Okay. It'll be a Facebook Live. So if you can't be on live, you can watch it anytime. I'm going to link them to the guides. So the guides are going to be if you're on your phone, at the top right corner, there's a menu button, and I showed a picture of it in the group. You can find them. They'll be linked to the guides. So you're going to find everything in the guides section. Okay. So if you're ever wondering where something is, before you reach out and ask, look in the guides. Okay. Every other Thursday at 7:30 Central. There was one error in the group where it said 7, but it's going to be 7:30 Central on Thursday. So August 18th will be our first Zoom, just like this. And then September 1st, 15th, and 26th. And then we're going to have a special call for those of, because some of you are new with Project Broadcast. You got the free social plan. So we're going to talk about, what features do you have available with that free plan? And then for those of you that have the paid version, what things can you do with that paid version? Because I know there's a lot of question of, I got this and now what do I do with it? And then for those of you that have team that you have brought on here, because we have women of all direct sales companies here, okay? So just kind of know that as we're sharing. But anyone that has a team, just even one person on their team that they have in this 6 weeks, and there's still time, we still have until next Monday for people to join. There's a bonus Zoom that you'll get, and we're going to talk about sponsoring. Okay. If you want to grow a team, you want to be on this call. I have been the top sponsor in my company for the last 4 years. So I know how to sponsor. I know what it takes and I'll, share with you exactly what I do to sponsor. So, if you've got team, reach out to them and see if we can get them in the 6 weeks here so you can be on that. So the Zoom link is always going to be the same every single week. Okay. It's in the group. So there's no change. So save that. So I have 2 groups of you on Project Broadcast. There is it's called Spaces. If you're new to Project Broadcast, it's a new feature. When you're on your Project Broadcast in the top, there's a little spaceship. Okay. And when you click on that, you should be in a little group text. It's basically just like a group messenger on Facebook, but it's a group text on Project Broadcast there. So I'll always put reminders in there as well with the Zoom link and when I'm going live and things like that. So you can watch that to know just in case so you don't forget. So how the week is going to be set up, or the weeks are going to be set up, is we're going to use kind of the template of plan, do, review. Okay. I think it's super important to have all 3 of those aspects in your business every day, every week, every month. And so what I mean by plan, do, review is that at the beginning of the week, I'll have a post about planning your week. Always be looking at your calendar for the week to know what's going on. I do it multiple times during the week. I'll just sit there and I'll open up my calendar for each day and I'll review the day and, oh, do I got to move this? Do I got to, message someone to make sure, we've still got this appointment going on, but just having full control of your week and what you're doing is so important to having success in your business. I suggest having one calendar that has your business stuff, your family stuff, everything on it, right? Because it's so hard to look at multiple calendars and to put them all together to make sure things are not overlapping and not forgetting things. So I just use the calendar on my iPhone and everything is in here. And I just color code them. So if I have, an actual Zoom or a call, something I have to physically be on like this, it's a certain color. So I know oh, this is actually needing to happen at 7 o'clock. It's not oh, it's at 7, you can kind of do it tonight, right? But it's I gotta be there. So have a calendar that kind of has everything. So we're gonna plan our week out every week. We'll have the Facebook Live on Monday. And there'll be a call to action, something to work on in your business. And then Tuesday, there'll be a post, which is the do. We're going to actually put things into action here in this 6 weeks, right? And then Thursday will be the Zoom. And then Saturday, we'll review our week, right? Did we do the income producing activities that we were supposed to do for the week, right? Did we reach out to enough people? Did we get the sales that we wanted to get, right? So we're just going to review the week. And when you review, that's when then you can start to think of oh, I should have maybe done this differently, or this works. I'm going to keep, doing it for the next week. So that's kind of the whole concept of plan, do, review. And so it's not necessarily just to do it for the week, but do it every day too, right? Review your day at the end of the day, or everything that you do, right? I'll review this Zoom when I'm done with this Zoom. Did I have everything that I wanted to say, right? Did I get everything out to you? So, plan, do, review down to everything, because then if it's working, keep doing it. If it's not working, either you have to modify it or you just take it out of what you need to do. Okay. Don't keep doing the same thing over and over if it's not working, right? So that's kind of what our weeks look like for the 6 weeks is that. So we'll have some prizes for top contributor in the group, which is commenting, sharing. The group will be open for you guys to post in. Okay. I'm not going to like turn that off. That will be on. Obviously, you know, when you're sharing things, be respectful of, you know, that there's women of all companies in here, and we're not, you know, promoting our company, but we're posting and asking questions, giving encouragement, maybe sharing something that's working, shout yourself out, or if you're connected with somebody else in the group, shout them out. Like, we really just want this to be a community that we can all show up and win and feel comfortable being in the group. And then again, complete the jot form before we get started. I'll have a weekly form as well, and I'll shoot reminders for that too. And then there will be a form at the end of the call as well. And everyone that completes those, I'll do a drawing at the end, and then I'll pick one person and we'll do a one-on-one coaching call with that. So that is kind of how the group is set up. Do we have any questions? I want to make sure you guys completely get that, because if you don't, you're not going to do the work, right? Robin?
I have a question. I'm sorry. Okay. So you said there was guides to go look for our answers to our questions before reaching out to you if we can possibly find our answers. Awesome. But it went so fast and I'm trying to write everything down. Did you say those guides were in the Mastermind group or in the Women of Transformation group?
So it is in the group for this. It's the 6-week group. So everything that we talk about here will be in that 6-week group. If you're not sure what group that is, just shoot me a message afterwards and I'll just make sure that you're in it. But so it's the 6-week Mastermind group. It's a purple banner. So
Okay, perfect. And you said the times change. I'm sorry, you said the time. I had a customer that was wanting my attention right when this started. So I was trying to multitask and I'm old. This doesn't work for me anymore.
So Mondays is the Facebook Live. And actually, if you go into the 6-week group, you'll actually see
The schedule.
Yep. So there is a pinned post, and it's actually in the guides as well. And it says, when are the trainings? So if you click on that post, it's going to tell you Mondays at 11 for Facebook Live, 7:30 for the Zoom calls. And the Zoom link is right there. So it's always going to be pinned and on the guides.
I saw that last night and I wrote all those down, but there was a time change. So I just wanted to confirm that time change is on all the Thursdays or just this one.
All the Thursdays will be 7:30 Central versus 7.
Okay. And then what about the bonus call? What is that about? That's on the 24th.
Let's see. So the 24th is going to be about Project Broadcast. So we'll have someone to probably Dawn from Project Broadcast, the customer support team. If you've been on one of my Project Broadcast calls before, you know, it's basically question and answer. Like, we'll show you some of the basics of it, and then it's even almost like a working call. Like, what do you want to do? What do you need to work on? What do you need to know? So it's all about understanding how to use Project Broadcast.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you for answering my questions.
You are welcome. So I want to talk about this journal as well. I know many of you purchased this journal. And so I want to kind of go through this a little bit, because this truly is, like, if you guys just follow this, you're going to have success in your business. Okay. Now, if you didn't get this, take notes, because you can really duplicate this on paper as well. Okay. But, you know, we just love to have, you know, it in our hands and to really have something, you know, to write on. So I'm going to just share some tips around using this. Okay. So we talked about our why a little bit ago, right? So if you can take some time to kind of fill in those first couple pages about your why, thinking a little bit deeper there. So this part where it talks about the 100 person list, I'm going to give you my suggestion on what you could do with this list. Okay. Because I don't feel that in here really focuses too much on, now this may not be a goal for everyone, but too much on sponsoring, right? There's not like a really good reminder or, DMO on the daily activities for sponsoring. So my suggestion for you over the 3 months of using this is anytime you start a conversation about sponsoring, right? Sharing your opportunity with someone, put their name on here. Okay. And let's see if you can fill that 100 list with the number of conversations about sponsoring. What do you guys think about that? Who's up for that challenge? Now, our course is 6 weeks. This book is 3 months. Okay. So obviously you can, take the whole 3 months to do that, but obviously if you do it faster, you'll probably grow your business faster, right? So that's what I've been doing. I've been writing the names. I've been writing the date as well, of which I share. And then, I kind of changed the headers up here a little bit to guide me and like my steps in, did I do this to kind of share more information about the opportunity. So super excited for that, to see how you guys do. Then we have the monthly calendar, and we're going to talk about this here in a little bit. Okay, so we're going to use this to set up our month, and we're going to talk about setting your month up ahead of time and knowing your numbers to know exactly what you need every single month. And then what I would recommend over here, now tracking is a thing that most of you struggle with. So we are going to highly focus on that. Okay, you guys are really going to like take this 6 weeks. I say this like slow, but yet fast, because like the reason I say slow is because we have to do the basics, right? We have to do the things to get us where we want to be. We can't skip steps. And if we go too fast, right, we're going to like just miss some of those important things. And then by week 3 or 4, we're going to be so overwhelmed that we're just going to quit. And we don't want quitters. Okay. So what I would suggest here, for those of you that don't have a really good system for tracking, is this is where you're putting your new conversations right here. Okay. And see if you can fill that up. 40 new people a month. Okay. That's just over 1 a day. Okay. So let's see if we can track that. But we're going to talk about actual tracking, which this is great. Many are going to use paper pencil. Okay. But I highly recommend something electronic as well. But so that's what you want to do there. And then the final page, because then after this, everything is going to be the same, is your daily tracking. Okay. So it starts over here and talks about basically 20 minutes of kind of like mindset type stuff. So for me, I like crossed out some of the things because it's like, okay, that's just not me. That doesn't, like, I'm not in a space for meditation. That's just not where I'm at in my journey. Do I think meditation is powerful? Yes, it totally can be. But for me, where I'm at, because I don't fully get it, it's a waste of time. So I'm not going to do it. Now, if you meditate and you see the power in that, awesome. Do that every single day. Right. And like movement, it says 5 minutes for movement. Oh, well, I scratched that out, because if I'm going to run a half marathon, gosh darn, I better do more than 5 minutes in movement. Right. So that's not going to be a part of my 20-minute kind of like mindset stuff. So mine were like goal setting every morning, affirmations, and then reading. Those are kind of like my top 3 things. You guys, if I ever have enough time, I'm going to make my own journal of the way I want it set up, because I love these, but there's always things that's like, oh, you're totally missing this, or, like I want it this way. It's been like something I've wanted to do like forever. So having that 20 minutes of really kind of setting your day, and I would suggest having a morning routine that sets you up for success. Does anyone have a morning routine that they want to share that is like absolutely amazing? Anybody want to share their morning routine? Everybody's like, I just want to go to bed.
No,
Robin?
I'll share my morning routine.
Yeah.
I have I call it a brain dump journal.
Hmm.
So every day, like every day, I dump everything. I put the date and I make like these little boxes here and I put everything I have to do. It doesn't mean I'm going to get it done. It just means I'm not going to forget about it because I'm one of those people, if I don't write it down, I'm going to forget. And so what I do every single morning, I get up and I set my alarm. I don't care. I set my alarm because I'll sleep in and then I'll regret it. And I get up, I go get my coffee and I grab my book and I sit down and I review yesterday's or even the day before's because there's always stuff I didn't get done. And I review it and I just start making today's list of things to catch up on. And I just take my time and do that in the morning while I'm waking up because that's when my brain is fresh.
Yep.
And it's when I'm not getting interrupted. Like I like to get up really early so that I don't get interrupted by anything. Like, and I can ignore my messenger because you East Coasters, man, you guys, you're started at 3:00 for us over here. So I just ignore my messengers and I ignore my Facebook and I go dive right into planning my day. And that's how I do it, which is similar to what we're doing here. Making a list, checking it twice. That's all.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, and I see lots of great comments in the chat too on what ladies do. Something that has really helped me just like be like, it's just so peaceful in the morning when you can take some time to like write things down, you know, sitting by yourself on the couch and like no kids yelling, like it's just the best part of the day, right? So I started a goals journal. And so I have, you know, between 10 and 15 goals. They're not all business related, but every single day rewriting those goals, or if you achieved it or something has changed, you know, obviously changing that, but you're re-looking at basically like the things that motivate you, right? Like these are the things that get me into action every day. And so similar to what Robin does, I'll also have a piece of paper next to me. And as I write that down, it's like, what can I do today to move the needle forward towards that goal, right? And then I kind of brain dump all those things that I need to do. But this has been a game changer for me in the morning with my goals. So having some time, you know, each morning or when works for you, reading a book, you know, a few chapters a day or a few pages a day. Then here's your to-do, like these are just kind of like non-negotiable, just things that you know you have to do today, you know, you want to put those on there. And that's kind of like planning your day ahead of time, right? So the night before you go to bed, looking at your calendar, right? Planning out your day, making sure, and then maybe there's some things that you got to, you know, put on here to carry over to make sure that, you know, you get done. Otherwise, you may be like me and you have like 50 sticky notes on your desk, right? So it's like, just put it all in here, Tiffany, right? And just X it off that way rather than having 50 sticky notes everywhere. And then relationship building. So what I have been doing with this is I've been calling that basically a space where I will just, you know, go love on people's, you know, posts and their stories. And so, you know, taking, you know, minimum 5 people a day where you're basically making somebody smile, right? Maybe you're going to shoot someone a text, a message, go comment on their posts, you know, something like that, but just building those relationships. In one of our recent past trainings, I had suggested on your tracker to add a lifestyle follow-up column. So that may be that, right? Maybe Kim is getting married in a month. So I might check in with her like, hey, Kim, you know, how's it going? Planning for that wedding, right? And she'll be like, wait, what? Like, you remember? Like, I told you that a month ago, right? So it's just building those relationships. So literally, you know, take 10 minutes, you know, to do that every single day and it will pay itself forward. Follow up, that's a thing, right? You know, so you can do, you know, here it says 5 follow-ups. So if you can do 5 follow-up a day for some people, you guys, that's a lot. Okay. Because one of the reasons it's a lot and it takes a lot of time is because we're not tracking and we don't know who to follow up with. When you track and you know who to follow up with, it's easy to whip out 5 follow-up messages, right? So that's why we're going to talk a lot about tracking, but, you know, putting your follow-up here, You can make little notes as well. And then your social media activity, I kind of, crossed off some of the things because I don't use LinkedIn, and things like that. So what I actually did was I wrote down what are my groups that I actually had to post in, what party groups do I have going on, and all of that kind of stuff. And then remember to always write one win for the day, and feel free to share that win in the group, if you want to too. Don't forget to celebrate your day every single day. We do all this stuff to have wins, right? But yet we don't celebrate those wins. So that's just as important as doing all the things. So that's basically what the calendar looks, or what the journal looks like. Okay. Is there any questions about the journal? Yep, Robin.
Yes. Do we start tomorrow?
You can start tomorrow if you want to in the journal. If you have it, you can start when you want, because the journal is 90 days and we'll be together for 6 weeks. So yep, start when works for you. Yep, I would wait, even if it's, some of you are like, but tomorrow's the 10th of the month and it's not the beginning of the month, so I don't want to waste 10 days of it, right? Like, just start it. Just start it. And here's what I would encourage you to do. So here's what we're going to talk about next, is breaking down your goals. Okay, so what I would highly recommend, okay, so if you open up the calendar, if you don't have this journal, make sure you have some type of calendar. Okay, I don't care if it's a calendar that you have to take a piece of paper and you have to draw the boxes. You need something. Okay, I'll show you here my calendar that I've been using, and I'll show you before I take off the sticky notes. But here is my August calendar. Okay, but once I take off all of my sticky notes of my things that I need to do, that should just get done, this is what my calendar looks like, and I'll kind of explain it. So what I want you guys to do is write down, and you can just write this down on a piece of paper too, is know what your sales goal is, okay, for the month. So write that number down on a piece of paper. Now, have intention, have meaning, have purpose with that number. Don't just write, oh, it's 500 in sales, or oh, it's 5,000 in sales, or whatever it is. Like, know exactly, why is it that number? Is it that number because that's where you get your next pay raise? Is it that number because that's going to help you earn your incentive trip? Is it that number because I need that in order to be into the leadership section of the comp plan, right? So know why that is your number. Have a purpose behind that. Yes, there is a link in the post for the journal in the group. Yeah. So know that number, and even write down next to it, I need this much in sales because of this, right? Have a meaning to that number. So then once you have that goal, now you have to figure out, where are those sales coming from? Okay, can anybody tell me right now from last month? Okay, like you know what your sales were last month, right? Can anybody tell me how much of those sales came from parties? How much came from events? How much came from your VIP group? And if there's any other, bucket where they may have come from. Can anybody tell me that right now? Probably not. So why, without knowing those numbers, it makes it very hard to set up your month, is because, my other question would be, do you know your average sales for your parties, for your events, and for your VIP group, which I'm assuming you don't, at least for your VIP group, if you don't know the other numbers, is how do you know what you need for parties and events and whatever else, other ways you're working your business to hit that goal? And a lot of us don't, right? We're just like, well, I'm going to book parties. I'm just going to get as many parties as I can get so I can get my sales and hope that I hit it, right? So you need to know those numbers. Okay, so that's what we're going to start tracking over the 6 weeks. So when we're done, you can confidently say, okay, in order to get $5,000 in sales, I need 10 parties booked, 2 events, and I pull, $2,000 from my VIP, or whatever it is. I'm just throwing those numbers out there. Okay. So I know exactly how much of my sales come from those buckets of categories, because then I can set my month up according to that. Okay. And that's how I am consistent with my sales every single month, is because I set my calendar up ahead of time. And so what I want you to do is you want to figure out those numbers. Okay. If you don't know where the sales are coming from, at least figure out what is like the average of your parties. Okay. So like if I were to look back on my calendar, so I have written down next to, so the pink lines, it's probably hard to see, but the pink lines are where I need to fill in my hostesses' names. So I know how many hostesses I need for the month. And so once I close out their party, I will go back to their name and I will write how much their party was here. So have a tracking system to know, how big your parties are, because then I can look and be like, okay, I had 6 parties and they totaled this, and I'm going to divide it by 6, and here's my average, right? So if your average is $500 in sales, you know how many parties that you need to book. And same with the events. For those of you that do events, right? Online events, figure out what your average is so that you can figure that out. And then, so let's say you sell 5,000 in the month. So you take away all those sales from the party, you take away all those sales from your vendor events, and then the rest would just, naturally be your follow-up and your VIP people, right? So then you would know how much you're pulling from your VIP group. So does that make sense on kind of like setting up your month to know where those numbers come from, to know how many parties and how many events you need? How many parties do you guys need a month to hit your goal? Do you guys know? 10 to 12. And so something I would consider as well is, so let's say you need, now these numbers might seem like overwhelming, but let's say you need 10 parties because that are $500 parties, right? You need to double book parties. So you need 20 parties, because half of those people are going to move their dates. They're going to ghost you. They're going to cancel. Okay. It happens, you guys. I can say that like with confidence, because like, so I had 7 parties that started August 2nd. 2 of them canceled. They moved to a different date. Okay. And I have that right here. And I know that last month I had 7 parties that started on the 19th. 3 of them canceled. Okay. It's just the nature of what we do. It's going to happen. Right. So I always say double book what you need, because, and people are going to get zeros, right? They're going to try, but they're going to get a 0. So that's what I want you guys to work on by next week, is having your August calendar. And that's why I say, start this now. Start it with August and use the calendar in here. Use pencil. Okay. Things are going to change. And, figure out how many parties that you need. Okay. And when you're going to host them, because then when you ask people about hosting, you can say, oh, I have August 10th or August 20th open. Which one works for you? Okay. You always want to give them 2 choices when you're booking a party. And if you don't know what your calendar looks like, and you just ask them, hey, when do you want a party? Their calendar probably is the same as yours, and they have no idea either. So you got to give them choices, right? Like kind of like when your husband says, hey, where do you want to go to eat? And you're like, I don't care, I don't know, right? But if he says, hey, do you want to go to Applebee's or Taco Bell, right? You're like, oh, 2 choices. Okay, I'm going to go to Applebee's. That was an easy one, right? So give choices. So have your calendar set ahead of time. Now, what I would recommend doing as well. So here's my August. I have in yellow is our, you probably can't see it too well, but in yellow, I have highlighted our calls or other Zoom calls and things like that. Okay, so I have a lot of my business stuff on here, but here's my September. You guys, my September is already planned because I need to start already booking parties for September, right? Like we're a month into August. I already need to know what my September looks like. So when someone says, oh, I can't do now, but I can do next month. Okay, great. I have August 30th or September 13th available. Which one works for you? Okay, so start planning your months out ahead of time, especially because school's starting, kids are busy, right? You're probably going to be taking your kids to and from school and sports and all that stuff. So start planning ahead of time. I have our Facebook Lives in here. I have our Zoom calls in here. Okay, don't work your business day to day or week to week, but work it month out. Okay, month out. So given that we're already into August, we should already be looking at, you know, what we want September to look like. And again, knowing what your goal is, you should know how many parties and how many events that you need to book. Awesome. Any questions around setting up your calendar? I do multi-host parties. Yep. Because for the number of parties that I need to host to hit my goal, I am not running that many single parties. It's just not happening. That would drive a person a little crazy. I've been doing multi-host parties for a couple years. I've hosted parties every single way that you can imagine, because we know how Facebook, you know, likes to change things, and we're trying to figure out the best way. So I literally have tried everything, and I always seem to go back to a multi-host party. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so something else that we need to track, and we kind of did that if you filled out my jot form in the group, and I want you to do this now if you haven't done it yet. I would recommend doing it at the beginning of the month. You could do it beginning and end of the, or the middle of the month too. But the 3 numbers that you put on your tracker for me when you came into the group is: how many Facebook friends do you have? How many people are in your VIP group? And how many people are on your tracker? Okay. If those are not growing, your business is not growing. Those 3 numbers are very important. That's your network, right? That's your like warm network needing to grow. And so when someone, you know, comes to me and they're like, oh, this just isn't working, like no one is saying yes, like no one wants the product. And you guys, I get people that say that a lot, and it's like, well, what have you done? How many conversations? Where's your tracker, right? Like, can you prove to me that you're like doing the things, right? And usually it's like they've sent a couple messages, but nobody wants their product, right? And this isn't going to work. I'm not good at sales, but it's like, you can't send 10 messages and like think that you can't do this, right? So we need to have those numbers so we can see that our network is growing. Your network has to grow. Yeah. Awesome. So write those down. Take your calendar. You can do it right. This one here. Whatever kind of calendar you have, but if you have this journal, you guys put it right up here. So this is the calendar page. Put it right up here. A number of friends, number in VIP, number on your tracker. And then do that every single month and just watch them grow. If they're not growing, then you got to figure out, that's the plan, do review of that, right? Then you got to figure out, why isn't it growing? And so we asked this question on another coaching call, and the person said, my VIP group is not very active. Who has a VIP group where people don't comment, like it's just kind of dead, right? And so I asked her, I said, go back, and this is another number you guys can track right here if you want another number, but go into your VIP group and go to the settings and see how many people did you approve into your group in the last 30 days, right? And for her, the number was like 2. Well, how are you supposed to get like excitement going if you don't have new fresh blood in there, right? And so you need to be growing that group in order to get more people. Where are so the 100 people, is that what are you asking about what to do on the 100 people list?
The tracker, is that the 100 people that you're referring to? You said how many people's on our tracker is in the 90-day tracker?
So not necessarily this one, but so let's talk on that next. So I talked a lot about this for those of you that did my 3-day boot camp. We talked a lot about tracking, and this is truly, truly a thing that most people struggle with is tracking. Now, there's different ways to track. It can be paper pencil, which I think a majority of people do. Trello, some people use Trello, Google Sheets, Excel, right? Can be something, but what we need is you need a system that you're going to be consistent with. Okay, so whatever it is that you pick, you need to have consistency and using it every single day, even when you don't want to. You gotta track. Okay, and so tracking. A lot of you guys had got my tracker, and so it's you want to track before they order, right? So I saw a lot of the trackers that were being shared, and it was about, oh, they ordered on this day, they ordered this, and I followed up here, right? The tracking before they order is 100 times more important than that, right? Because I can put that stuff all into Project Broadcast and that's going to follow up for me, right? So I don't necessarily even have to track a lot of the after stuff. Like obviously I still track the sales stuff, but you know, I can automate the follow-up piece of it. So I want to know, you know, who referred them? Am I connected with them in Messenger? You know, what their pain points are. Did I send them, you know, do they have to fill something out for me so I can, you know, have more information to get them recommendations, right? You guys, sales is about connecting with people. And what I found through the boot camp was that when I talked about parties and connecting with people, that when you're hosting parties, you're not connecting with the people. Like we're posting in the party and we hope that people click the link and make a purchase, right? Sales, the type of sales that we do and the customer service that we provide should be connecting with people, because that's how we're going to get them to order again. That's how we're going to get them to host. That's how we're going to get them to join you in this opportunity and to join your VIP group, right? That's how you're building those relationships. So anytime you connect with someone about the product or the opportunity, you want to put them on your tracker. Okay. I want you guys to pop in the chat box. What are you going to use for your tracker for this 6 weeks? Okay. Can you guys tell me? Is it paper, pencil? So here's a little tip for paper pencil. I had a conversation with someone about this last week. So in my first business, that's all I used was paper pencil. But as many of you might be experiencing, as your list grows, paper pencil can be overwhelming, because how do I find, you know, Trisha when she's ready to order because she's on 5 pages, you know, that I did 2 months ago, right? And so if you want to use paper pencil, here's maybe a little hack, if this will work, is so you could totally have like a 3-ring binder or even just a notebook. I think when I did mine, it was a 3-ring binder. And so each page was a letter of the alphabet. Okay. So when I started talking with Amber, I went to page A and put her on there. When I started talking with Nancy, I went to page N and put her on there. So at least I could find the people, right? Like that's the hard part, is finding the people when it's on paper pencil, because you can't organize it in any way. So if you want to use paper pencil, maybe that hack, if anybody else wants to share a paper pencil hack that works for them, feel free to unmute, pop it in the chat, because I think that's the overwhelming piece of writing it on paper, is how do you find the people and how do you know who to follow up with? Because you just got so many things going on, right? So what I would recommend is something electronic, whether that's Trello. Some of you use Trello. I've tried that as well. I felt that there was some limitation for me on there. So I went to Google Sheets. The reason I went to Google Sheets was because when I have a new teammate come on, I can make her tracker. She's not going to track, okay, unless I make her track. Okay, so I make her track by making her a tracker, and we launch her party and we put her people on there. And because it's Google Sheets, we can both write on there. And likely it's me doing 90% of the work because she doesn't track, right? But I'm going to get her into the habit of tracking, because she's going to get overwhelmed with all those conversations happening, right? I didn't understand Google Sheets either. I was afraid of it. I was like, what do you mean we can both write on this thing? And it saves automatically. Like I don't have to hit save and send it. Like that is super weird. Right. So I played with it and I figured it out, and it still kind of baffles me from time to time. But there are things that I don't know about it, but I know the basics, and that is enough. And it's something that I can show as we get into the 6 weeks. I can show my tracker and how to, do all of that, and how you can create one, and how to find your drive, and, your shared folder. And I can go over all of that as we get going. So, but yeah, so have something. So that's what I mean. That was the long answer, Cindy. I hope that answered it for you. But it's that main tracker that you want to be tracking the number of people on your tracker. Okay. I hope
Okay,
that helps.
yeah, that answers it.
That was a long answer of what's that number you're talking about. So let's see, what else do we have? We're getting close to being done here. So one other thing is the boards app. Okay. Who pop in the comments so I can just get an idea on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you with boards? Like 1, I don't even know what the heck you're talking about, to 10, this, I could never live without it. Okay, so we're kind of all over the place. And so we can do more training on that, but I did create a board for the 6 weeks. For those of you that did my boot camp, it's similar to that. But, and I'll share it with you guys, for those, because many of you don't have the 3-day boot camp one. So I'll share the 6-week one with you, and you can plug information in there. You can copy it and save it, and then, kind of make it your own. I have the group on there. I can probably put the Zoom link and stuff on there as well. I'm going to share my screen really quick just so you guys can see it, and I'm going to share a couple things with you. But this is something we can talk more about as we go. Okay, so give me a minute to just share my screen. Does anybody have any specific questions they want to unmute and ask about boards that you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm just stuck on this spot, and if I knew this, it would be amazing? Oh, why?
I do.
What's that?
I remember you showing us how to do boards and the text and stuff, and how to put it on a post.
Yep.
So easy with the keyboard, but I don't remember about the images.
Oh,
I can't remember how you
it's basically the same thing.
got the images.
Okay.
I
So,
tried that, but it just says copied.
Yep, you just copy it and then you go up and paste it. So, okay, so here's the boards app. For those of you that don't have it, you can go to your app store and download it. Okay. Or if someone sends you a link to a board, you can follow the steps to create it. Just remember what your board email is, because if you do download any other boards, you just got to have that same email. Okay, so you're going to open it up. So I'm going to have a lot more boards than you guys. So yours is going to, when you join, there's going to be nothing on here. Okay, so you can create your own board by hitting that create board button right here, and you can make your own. Okay. Or you can take a board from somebody else that they already created, and you can input it into your board. Okay, so for example, here is the 6-week board that I made. So I'll pop this into the group. Okay. And so once you click on the link and you add it to your board, it's going to show up just like this. So you'll be able to click in. I have, just a few things in some of these folders. So these are called folders. So inside the folder, I can add more folders, or I can add text, or I can add an image. On the bottom right is a little plus symbol where I can add different types of things that I want to. I've got the group here for the 6 weeks. If you click on that, it's going to go into our 6-week group. Here's the link to the journal as well. So what you may want to do is make a copy of this board, okay? Because you won't be able to edit this board because I made it and I did it, and I'm not making you an editor because we don't want 100 people editing the same board, right? So to do that, you're going to click the top 3 dots in the right. You're going to click select. And then I'm going to click on each of those folders. Okay, so I've highlighted each folder. At the bottom, I'm going to hit copy. Okay, so I just copied those folders. So now I'm going to go out and I'm going to make my own board. I'm going to go to create board. Okay, I'm going to name it whatever you want to name it, 6 weeks. So I'm going to click done. I'm just going to tap on the screen like I'm going to type something. And then on the bottom, it says paste here. So now I'm just going to paste it. So now I just took what was in that folder and moved it here. Okay, so now you can go in and you can actually edit and add things like that. Okay, so I'm kind of giving you like a template. Like, for example, this is how you would create new conversations. There's different ways, right? Post on your profile, short form videos such as Reels or TikTok, doing Facebook Live, doing stories, connecting with your warm market, connecting with cold market, right? These are all different ways. So you can click into there and you can take notes on stories or whatever you want to add in there, right? Now, if I were to ever add more information to my 6-week board, it's not going to show up on yours. Yours is a copy of mine on the way that it is right now. Okay, so you want to probably keep this one on your board until we're done, just to see if, you know, I do add anything else in here so you can grab it. Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions on that?
Tiffany, I've got a quick question.
Yeah.
Do you remember, do you recommend that we do that then for just all boards in general? Like if one is shared with us, to make a copy so we can make our own notes in it?
I don't know. I really don't. Unless you're like, unless you're someone who is like, I need full control and like, I want to
No,
add
not
more
at
and I
all.
want to do
Okay.
more.
Yeah, no.
I wouldn't
Okay,
necessarily do
perfect.
that, because again, if they add information to it, right, then you're going to lose that information because you're like maybe not going to go back to that board, and then you're going to have duplicates of every board, and then you're going to be super confused on what board can I edit, what board can I not. You know, yeah. So and then there are some boards where you can set the settings. So like, for example, I have a board here that I have it where you can't copy the content. Okay, so if you have, like, this is a membership board, so I don't want these people taking the content and making a copy of it or sharing the content of it, or I don't have a link to join. So when I have someone that to go on this board, I actually have to add them via email, where if I wanted anyone to join, I can just hit create link, and now I can send out that link and anybody can join it. But I don't want anyone to join this group, so I'm just going to deactivate this link. Okay, so now nobody can join this unless I add them by email. And you can view your members. So if I click the top right, like, here are the people on this board, and if I wanted to remove someone, I could just click on it and I could remove them. Or if I wanted to make them an editor, I can add it to editor, or, you know, do what I needed to do. So yeah, so you can get creative with boards and make anything that you want. And the great thing with boards is the duplication piece. So if you make something or your team makes something, share it with each other, right? So I'll give you just some quick examples here of mine. So we have, I created, it's called Facebook Parties, Team and Individual. So this is for my team. So we have these folders. We have all of our hostess coaching right here. So I don't have to, like, you know, message the hostess coaching to each of my teammates. They can access it right here. They know how to find it. Here are our words that work, following up with people in Messenger and moving the conversation along. My team knows exactly what I do to get the results. They have my exact words, right? So ask your uplines if they have things that are working for them with boards, and see if they will share with you. We're trying to see, like, overcoming objections. We've got something there. booking blitz. Like if you have ways to book parties and you want to share that with your team, or you want to save it for yourself, right? Create a board on booking parties, words that work, right? For those of you that do vendor events, this is where you want to save your posts, right? This is just the flow of how my events work. So this is what I did. And in each one, I have my vendor event post within there. So I would recommend that. You can, in your parties, like I have one for parties as well. Is this making sense to you guys a little bit? Those of you that were kind of like a 1, 2, 3. You can save photos in here. So if you have, before and afters, or you want to organize them somehow, you can, make folders and organize your folders. So then you're not going into your photos and you're like, okay, it was like, 10 swipes down, it was to the right, it was next to this one. Oh, there it is. It's that one right there, right? Like you get stuck doing that. I just do it all the time. And then, so to use it, I'll just quick share. So for example, I'm going to just send to myself. So let's say I wanted to follow up with myself. Okay. So I'm going and I'm following up with this person. So I'm going to go to my boards where I have my follow-up messaging. Okay. So let's say I'm connecting with this person for the first time in a party. Okay. So I have my first PM message. I'm just going to click where it says first PM to guest. I'm going to click that button and it's going to populate right there in Messenger. And then boom. Obviously there's some things I have to edit because this is for my team. So it's a little bit more generic. Okay. Does that make sense though? So you basically just find your board. Okay. You can click the menu button, find whichever board that you want. Maybe it's a picture that you want to send. And so let me just grab, I'm just here. I'm going to grab this one. So let's say I'm going to send someone my Venmo. Okay. I'm going to show you that picture. So I'm going to click on here. There's my Venmo. I'm going to click on it and it's copied. Now I'm going to come up here and I'm going to paste it. Okay. It's the same thing for posts on Facebook. You just want to go to the picture, copy it and paste it. Okay. So that's a quick demo for you. I hope that helps a little bit for some of you that are pretty new to this, but it's a big game changer once you really see what you can do with boards. So yeah, you have to activate the boards to your keyboard so it links on your keyboard. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for being on tonight. I'll get this uploaded and I'll post in the group for the ladies, and you can rewatch it if you need to. Let me know if you guys have any questions. So we officially begin next week. So, I might have a few posts in the group up until then, but I will be on live, Facebook Live next Monday in the group. So let's work on setting up our August so we know exactly what we need in order to achieve our goal. And if you need more parties, then maybe set up a power hour to book those parties. Okay. All right, guys, we'll see you later. Bye.